everyone, I am Anshika and today I am going to discuss the famous case of K.M. Nanavati versus State of Maharashtra. So, in this case, the appellant K.M. Nanavati, who was second in the command of a naval ship in Mysore, was sentenced to life imprisonment under Section 302 by the Bombay High Court for murder of Prem Ahuja on 27 April 1959, who was a businessman of Bombay for having illicit relationship with his wife Sylvia, who confessed to Nanavati of an illicit relationship with Ahuja and their illicit intimacy. Enraged at the conduct of Sylvia, Nanavati went to his ship, took from the stores of the ship a semi-automatic gun, revolver and 6 cartridges on a false pretext, loaded the same and went to Ahuja's apartment, entered his bedroom and shot him dead. Thereafter, the accused surrendered himself to the police. His defense was that when he shot the deceased, he was deprived of the power of self-control caused by sudden and grave provocation. The question before the court was whether a reasonable person placed in the same position, the accused, would have reacted to the confession of the wife in the same manner as the accused did. So in this case, Justice Subba Rao said, under this exception, culpable homicide is not murder, with the following circumstances or conditions are compiled with. They are: the deceased must have provoked the accused. Second, the provocation must be grave. Next, the provocation must be sudden. And the offender, by the reason of self-provocation, shall have deprived of his power of self-control. Also, he should have killed the deceased during the continuance of deprivation, the power of self-control. And lastly, the offender must have caused the death of the person who got provocation or death of any other person by mistake or by accident. So, Chief Justice Goddard in R versus Duffy said, provocation is some act or series of acts done by the deceased to the accused which would cause in any reasonable person and actually causes in the accused a sudden and temporary loss of self-control, rendering the accused a sudden and temporary loss of self-control and provocation subject to passion as to make him or her for the moment not master of his mind. The Indian law on the subject may be considered from two aspects, namely whether words or gestures unaccompanied by the acts can amount to provocation, and what is the effect of the time lag between the act of provocation and the commission of the offence. So, the Madras High Court in Boya Murigodu versus the Queen upheld the plea of grave and sudden provocation in the following circumstances. The accused saw deceased when he had cohabitation with his bitter enemy. The night he had nothing to eat. Next morning he went to the Royds for his wages when he saw his wife eating along with her paramour. He killed the paramour with a bill hook. It was held the accused had sufficient provocation to bring the case within the first exception of Section 300. So where a woman was leading a notorious immoral life and on the previous night mysteriously disappeared from the bedside of her husband, and the husband protected against her conduct, she vulgarly abused him, whereupon the husband lost his self-control, picked up a rough stick and assaulted her. The Lahore High Court in Chand Muhammad versus Emperor held. So, in judging the conduct of the accused, one must not confine himself to the actual movement when the blow, which ultimately proved to be fatal, was struck. That is to say, one must take into consideration not only the event which took place immediately before the fatal blow was struck, but also the whole unfortunate affair should be looked at as one prolonged agony on the part of the husband, which must have been preying upon his mind and led to the assault upon the woman resulting her death. So, Is there any standard of a reasonable man for the application of the doctrine of grave and sudden provocation? No abstract standard of reasonableness can be laid down. What a reasonable man will do in certain circumstances depends upon the customs, manners, way of life, traditional values, etc. In short, the cultural, social, and emotional background of the society to which an accused belongs. It is neither possible nor desirable to lay down any standard with precision. It is for the court to decide in each case depending upon the facts and circumstances. However, following guidelines may be stated as follows. The test of grave and sudden provocation is whether a reasonable man belonging to the same class of society as the accused placed in the situation in which the accused was placed would so provoked as to lose his self-control. Words and gestures may also, under certain circumstances, cause grave and sudden provocation to an accused so as to bring his act within the first exception of section 300. The mental background created by the previous act of the victim may be taken into consideration in ascertaining whether the subsequent act caused grave and sudden provocation for committing the offence. The fatal blow should be traced to the influence of the passion arising from that provocation and not after the passion had cooled down, by lapse of time or otherwise giving scope for premeditation and calculation. So after bearing these principles in mind, let us look at the facts of the case. When Sylvia confessed to her husband that she had illicit intimacy with Ahuja, the latter was not present at that time. He will assume that he had momentarily lost his self-control. But if his version is true, it shows that he was only thinking of the future of his wife and children and also of asking for an explanation from Ahuja for his conduct. This attitude of the accused clearly indicates that he had not only regained his self-control but, on the other hand, was planning for the future. Then he drove his wife and children to the cinema, left them there, went to the ship, took a revolver on a false pretext, loaded it with 6 rounds. Also did some official work, his official business there, and drove his car to the office of Ahuja and then to his flat. Then went straight to his bedroom and shot him dead. So between 1:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. 4:20 p.m. when the murder took place, 3 hours elapsed, and therefore there was sufficient time for him to regain his self-control, and even if he had not regained it earlier. On the other hand, his conduct clearly shows that the murder was a deliberate and calculated one. The mere fact that before the shooting, the accused abused his wife and provoked an equally abusive reply could not conceivably a provocation for the murder. So held, the facts of the case do not attract exception of section 1 to section 300. Hence, the appeal was dismissed. So this was the case of K.M. Nanavati with the state of Maharashtra. In case of any doubt, please write in the comment section. Thank you. Stay safe.